Thank you. So to everyone out in Revolution Land, this is my first interview of 2021, and I'm so excited because it's one of the real, and when I say real legends of the watch industry, this is completely irrefutable and incredibly true. And of course, I mean the man that is in charge of Bulgari, but before that, in charge of Tag Heuer, and has one of the most storied careers in the watch industry, the recipient of last year's Revolution Lifetime Achievement Award, none other than the incredible Jean-Christophe Babin. How are you, Mr. Babin?
Hello. Well, first, I'm blushing listening to your compliments. I think they are deserved by the team first and foremost, because I've been lucky enough in the last 20 years to work with incredible watchmakers, designers. Recently with Fabrizio Bonamassa, ever since I'm with Bulgari. And yes, altogether, we have tried to innovate Swiss watchmaking, capitalizing on the one hand on the deep knowledge we had acquired from Roth and Genta when it comes really to the excellence in Swiss engineering applied to ground complications, and on the other hand, the genius of Italian design, which is bringing to Swiss watchmaking, I think, a new exciting dimension, epitomized probably best by Octo and Serpenti.
Well, Jean-Christophe, let's get started on the Octo, because I know you have a very exciting extension to the Octo Finissimo S family. So this watch was launched last year as an extension of the Octo Finissimo vision. It was slightly thicker, but also incorporated a screw-down crown for the first time, which gave this steel watch 100 meters water resistance, which suddenly made it truly a wonderful sport chic watch, a watch you could wear by the swimming pool, you could jump into the water, you could go for a swim. There were no limits in your life with this watch on. And it had all of the incredible charm and design, originality, and thinness and elegance of the Octo Finissimo. Tell us about the two new Octo Finissimo S watches that you'll be launching this year, sir.
Well, indeed, you've summarized very well. The objective, and I would say that also there is a benefit to the 100 meters waterproofness and the screw crown, that we had really to make it a bit thicker while maintaining the world record, which in terms of overall design balance makes it a watch even more beautiful than the previous Octo Finissimos, at least to my own taste. But this has been played back also by many clients and retailers. So based on the success of the Octo 100S, really getting it really in the mainstream of the luxury daily watch market, first, we've decided to offer a bit more choice on the watch itself. Adding one more dial, which makes 3 dials in total, which is still pretty limited. And additionally, as you remember, we have launched the chronograph, the thinnest ever chronograph in titanium, as each and every single novelty in Bulgari Octo Finissimo comes first with this full titanium integration from the bracelet to the dial to the case. And exactly as we did for the watch, and for the same purpose, that is to turn that chronograph more daily, we've decided to launch also the brushed and polished steel version, borrowing a lot from the watch, of course, in terms of finishings. We have a lot of craftsmanship behind, the brushing, as you can see on the bezel. And we have also changed the crown to have a better balance between the 2 push buttons and the crown. So aesthetically, like the watch, but for slightly different reasons. It's not only a bit thicker, but also, we have muscled the crown to make it a bit more manly. As again, this reinforces not only the functionality and the handling, even though it's self-winding, but however, occasionally you have to adjust it. And also because we thought that aesthetically we needed a bigger crown to somehow compete against the 2 rather big push buttons. And
absolutely.
And this will come, in full steel, as you've seen. But in parallel to that, obviously, we're not abandoning, the titanium. We are adding a beautiful band, which is a leather band, but a very modern treated leather band, which makes it even more sporty than what we ever did before. With a black dial. Black is a kind of Octo signature. And it's important, I think, with that chronograph also to hook with the rest of the Octo family, which since inception has been often including this black signature dial, which is one of the codes you recognize on Octo immediately. So it's very light, obviously, because of that bracelet and the material. It's very strong in contrast, and it's probably the most contemporary expression of Octo Finissimo chronograph.
Amazing. I think what's really cool is the way in which you have structured the growth and the journey of the Octo Finissimo. First to do it with such credibility, to come with watches that each time you introduce a new complication, you were also achieving a benchmark in technical innovation in terms of thinness, right? I mean, to this day, I think your Tourbillon, right, is one of my favorite watches, and it's at a watch that's just slightly over 3 millimeters, and a watch, I don't mean a movement, a watch, it's staggering how thin it is, right? So I love that you created this credibility.
Without disclosing 2022, the journey goes on.
I'm excited. Oh, okay, thank you for that hint. But I love the fact that you created really one of the most exciting families in watches, which merge technical innovation, always, as you say, at the service of original and provocative design, and an all new, really modern, sport chic icon for our generation and for the new millennium. And then I like also the fact that now there's a bit of like a stratification in the family, where maybe the titanium and the precious metal watches are really like the connoisseurs watches. And then now you have the Octo Finissimo S, which is...
I would call them, I mean, you and I like pretty much sports car. I think to me it's the titanium or carbon, in the case of the minute repeater, are really to me the supercars. It's the extreme expression, I mean, not only of the excellence in engineering and design, but also in terms of ergonomy, of lightness, with very advanced materials. But for some people, it's so light that they have the subjective feeling that it could be a watch that you wear a bit more occasionally, which is wrong somehow. But eventually the feeling is always right, because what you feel is right, and we have to analyze that. And therefore, we have the GT car, and the GT car is exactly your point. I mean, it's the range with brushed and polished steel applied to the watch, applied to the chronograph, as well as bracelets, which also are seen as very comfortable. And so bracelets that obviously you are very happy to wear every day. And this is a major turning point, I think, for Octo, which was born initially and proposedly as a niche. In the watch market today, you have a broad offering of many brands with many different collections. And if you want to break through, initially, you need to bring something really different from anything existing before. Otherwise, I mean, you cannot really draw any kind of interest and attention. And once this is accomplished, which I think in Octo, since 2014, we made 2012, let's say for the first Octo, but Finissimo 2014, we have made those steps with extreme materials, with extreme complications. And now, obviously, maintaining this supercar platform, because this is very exciting and very important for a certain target of lens, we're adding a layer which opens Octo to the mainstream of the daily luxury watches and chronographs. And this means a huge opportunity for Bulgari.
I love it. And I also love the fact that you started with the supercar first, because the supercar always gives credibility to the GT car,
Yeah.
And not the other way around.
That was the same principle applied to watchmaking. And we know that cars and watches are man's best friends. So it's pretty easy for a car lover to understand our approach, and vice versa.
But, I want to kind of go back to 2014, and in the context of 2014, one of the things that I think is so courageous about the Octo Finissimo, and I oftentimes get, questions like, why don't other brands come up with something as innovative and as exciting and as groundbreaking technically and aesthetically? The amount of investment that you must have made, right, to create, these all new movements, then in cases that had never existed before, in dials that had a thinness that the industry had never heard of before, to create even all new ways to case these watches, and then to build bracelets that were thinner than anything that ever existed.
The bracelet was, I love the fact that you talk about it, because the bracelet was virtually as challenging as the movement itself.
And in the context of this as well, it must have been, wow, this is an incredible investment to create, this range of watches, which must have been, at the time, everyone was like, is this a bit of a gamble? What I like today is that you have been vindicated by a huge way, not only critically in terms of all the accolades and awards that you've won, but also from a commercial perspective, because the Octo Finissimo S is a huge hit. And now, in fact, I hear actually it's even quite hard to get one as well. And now you're broadening the appeal of this family. So it was a 7-year plan that really took some time, but it's amazing.
But you're right. I mean, last year, despite the big crisis related to the COVID, we had some temporary closure of our manufacturer, but it was pretty short. And since September, we are full speed on watches, on movements, full capacity. We didn't lay off anyone, and we plan even this year, if things continue to go well, to hire new people. So this has also a very positive impact, I would say, on the employment market, which in Switzerland has been pretty chaotic, because Switzerland has suffered like any other country, and we are very proud that despite those headwinds, we could make it. We could further grow at the end of the year, and that 2021 surely will allow us to capitalize on all those seedings.
Amazing. I'm wearing my Octo Finissimo, the very first, because we've now done 2 editions with you.
Yeah.
And I love this watch. And this was back in 2016, which is quite a distant memory now, but it's a nice piece of history for our relationship and for Revolution.
I can tell you, very unique.
Yes, totally.
Unique, yeah.
Yes, but the watch also makes me smile for a second reason, and I think that this is a very important topic. And I think that today, when any luxury consumer makes a choice to purchase something from a brand, she's making a declaration of the type of world that she wants to live in, and she's making also a call in terms of how she feels that brand, or he feels that brand has done their job to make the world better also. And last year, more than anyone I can think of, you did an incredible job. You guys started with finding that microscope for Spallanzani Hospital in Rome, and then you created the hand sanitizer by transforming one of your factories, which was normally a scent factory, and then of course you created this incredible virus eradication fund. And then you must feel amazing, because look at what Oxford and AstraZeneca have done with this vaccine, right? And it's amazing in particular because Oxford and AstraZeneca, which is a vaccine that you helped to fund, has made an ethical decision to not charge an exceptional price for this vaccine. So it's 5 times cheaper than all the other vaccines. And this is so important to countries that are in need. So tell me about these efforts and what you plan to do in the future.
Well, the first thing that we're very happy and proud to do all those investments, because we talk about millions of dollars in a year where money was hard to earn. And this has not been done at the expense of other charity or I would say activities such as education with Save the Children. We even have just renewed the contract in December 2020 for the next 3-4 years. So, it will be 15 years now, including this extension. More than ever, we have been patronizing arts. With the Polonia Marble exhibition in Roma, with the Largo Argentina site revamping. It's a Republican site from the 4th century BC, where Julius Caesar was assassinated, which thanks to Bulgari will be open to the public, which never happened since excavation in the 30s, 1 century ago. And so, despite the COVID, despite the impact on sales, we have intensified our historical activities, patron of arts and education, and we have added, this high investment with obviously 3 goals. One is prevention, so the vaccination, and I'm very proud to be associated to the Oxford team. They're just great. And it's great to see that vaccination is coming now. And not only it's much cheaper, but also it's easiest one to handle in terms of logistics, as it can be transported anywhere between -5 to +5 degrees, which means that any store, and maybe one day any individual, can have it in the fridge. And this is a huge breakthrough. And I'm sure that in the medium run, once, most people will have been vaccinated the first time, the AstraZeneca Oxford will be the main antivirus vaccination just for those two reasons. Easy to handle, to store, and very affordable, allowing, the whole planet to enjoy it. And at the same time, we are investing with Rockefeller on the testing, because obviously we know that the more testing you conduct, the more preventive you can be, and the earlier you cure, the better. And with Rockefeller, soon probably will get on the market a test which you can do yourself at home in the evening, in the morning, exactly like the next morning pill, allowing to check yourself very cheaply and immediately. So very much the same principle as the Oxford technician, something very affordable and something really which you can store very easily. And with the Pansani, we're working more on the curative part because some people either will fall ill. We know those vaccines are working at 90%, so still there is 10%. And 10% we talk on the planet on just 800 million people. So it's quite a lot. And so we are working also on the dimension of if ever, despite, the vaccination and with the test, you are positive, there will be medicines which will cure it, not at 30% as today, but at 90 or 100%, so that at the end of the day, this should be eradicated.
That's incredible. Really, and bravo to that. You are a real example of a leader in luxury, and I think that you should be really commended on that for leading the way. I think the last question I have for you is, I know you are also going to be offering a really cool, complicated watch this year. It's in a Bulgari Roma case. It is a carillon, so a minute repeater with 3 hammers and 3 gongs, and also a tourbillon. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Well, first, as you said, first it comes in the Roma, and this is really the development of a decision we made 3 years ago, that our grand complications would be for the future always nested in an Octo case, which was a departure from the past, where, be it for historical reasons, be it for a kind of philosophy of classicism in grand complication, because when you think grand complication, often you wrongly believe that your clients are expecting something timeless, and meaning by that very classical. And we have decided to take exactly the opposite stand. That is, it has to be extremely contemporary. And when you look at art today, collectors still pay a lot of respect, to the paintings of the 18th, 19th century. But what they really buy is modern art. And I think for a grand complication, it's art, exactly the same way. But they buy less and less, I would say, the 19th century or early 20th century designs, and are more and more excited, especially in Asia, I have to say, by designs which are really mirroring their own aesthetic criteria, their interior design, their styling when it comes to fashion. And this watch really fits totally, in this new expectation of modern design across the board in your daily life. And but this doesn't mean that in terms of technology, we compromise. There will be 1,200 components, and really a music which probably has never been expressed so beautifully by the movement. So it will be really a watch which has a unique look with a grid, which is somehow very mysterious, but at the same time, superlative sound, which obviously is a must you have to expect, and also look, which is very essential, which is somehow, also a paradox for such grand complication, because grand complication often look indeed very complicated. This one looks very simple. And again, cool. Very much consistent with the DNA of Octo, which is very minimalist, very essential, and you hardly notice it's very complicated, even when it is hugely complicated. Think about the minute repeater, was exactly the same philosophy.
It's a stealth watch. I love this because it also, this is already something that you pioneered back when you created the first Octo Finissimo minute repeater in titanium. And that was exactly that type of watch. I remember you telling me, yes, we feel that grand complications or high complications are super important, but why not have them in contemporary cases? Why not have them in contemporary material? Why not have them in a way that is really modern, but also super discreet? So I love that there's a consistency in terms of your philosophy.
And so this will be, the pinnacle of 2021 in terms of ground complication. You know that we are one of the few brands which has the internal excellence to craft totally those watches in the Sentier, but our capacity is 3 to 5 yearly. So obviously it will be not a one of a kind because the potential is far more than one. On the other end, it will be very limited just because to craft them, you need masters. We've been doing that for the last 20 or 30 years. And we have the chance to have 3 in-house. Probably in Switzerland, you have 25. So it's not that you can expect much, but I think it's part of it. It's really art and it's close to one of a kind, and it's the way it should remain.
Jean-Christophe Babin, what a pleasure catching up with you, my friend. I had already an amazing moment with you in the beginning of last year, and I saw everything that you did last year, and I was so impressed. And I know this is already a great moment to share with you, and I can only imagine 2021 is going to be even better for so many reasons. So thank you for your time.
And starting next week already with the LVMH Watch Week. After Dubai 2020, this will be Switzerland 2021. It will be, of course, because of COVID, this time totally digital. The brand will be the 4 major LVMH brand, that is Bulgari, Hublot, Tiger, and Dennett. And so we'll have the chance to present from the 25th or next month, the Monday after, part of the 2021 novelties of the LVMH luxury watches portfolio. So we continue, to innovate. And we'll have this year, as we did last year, the first watch fair of the Swiss industry as early as January, when some of the brands are still wondering whether they're going to do something in the first half of the year.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. And wishing you a wonderful day, a wonderful year. And thank you for bringing such great, wonderful watches to us.
Thank you for your support and enthusiasm. It's always stimulating, way. Have a great day. Thank you, my friend. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Take care.